Before beginning this video, I would just like to apologize if I sound strange or frustrated. For some reason, I had to keep re-recording and re-editing this particular video. Before recording, I also received a strange phone call from a blocked number telling me not to talk about this subject. No one but me knew I was working on a Skinwalker video. Let me know what you think about this strange occurrence in the comments below. Skinwalker. To some, this word will cause fear. To others like me, this will pique your curiosity. But to the Navajo, even speaking about them is taboo, and bringing up this subject will be enough for them to walk away. According to Native American legend, a Skinwalker has the ability to transform himself into animal form. Most who practice shapeshifting are sorcerer-like beings. Hollywood has given us an exaggerated idea of what a human-to-animal transformation might be like in the form of werewolves. But like in many other cases, truth is much stranger than fiction. The most common animal form a witch doctor may choose to take would be that of coyotes, wolves, crows, owls, snakes, and foxes. However, the Skinwalker was not always the menacing evil creatures we become to know today. They were once considered high-ranking priests or medicine men and guardians of their tribes. Since they have the ability to transform into animals, they were also called Yi Natloshi, which translates roughly into, "With it, he goes on all fours." It is said that in times of famine or when the men will go out to hunt, the medicine man would transform himself into a skinwalker and travel ahead of the tribe in order to find out where the wildlife was and report back. Eventually, when the white man began to settle on their lands and incarcerate the Navajo, they saw that some of the natives had this special power and began to use them as spies in exchange for gold, food, or a more humane way of life while their families were being held captive. Other legends state that the Navajo used this skill in order to escape prosecution or in order to escape when surrounded by their enemies. But regardless of what story you believe or may have heard, it is universally agreed that soon after, the Skinwalker became evil. Greed and envy became their way of life, and with time, the tribes will shun them out for using their special faculty for their own benefit. It soon became taboo to even speak about them, because doing so will be enough to summon one up and cause you harm, suffering, or in extreme cases death. In some Navajo tribes, the simple action of wearing a coyote pelt will be enough for the person to be considered a skinwalker, and you will be shunned or killed by the leaders, thus forcing those who practice this shape-shifting ritual to become a form of secret society among the tribes. Through oral traditions and practices, some retain the knowledge of becoming a skinwalker and to this day have continued to use it for their own advantage. The Navajo tribes are not the only ones with the ability to shapeshift. Every First Nation people around the world has some form of shape-shifting creature in their traditions. Mexico, for example, has a witch doctor called the Nahuatl, who is extremely similar in form to the Navajo Skinwalker. Canadian cultures have what is known as the Wendigo, This creature becomes insatiable at eating human flesh after trying it. European legends of course have the werewolf, but unlike the Skinwalkers and other Walt, their transformation is via a curse and cannot do it on command. Norse folklore speaks of the mighty berserkers, who after consuming a few special potions will enter into a trance and become extremely ferocious and feared in battle, going as far as making entire armies run away in fear. And in some Asian cultures, there are tales of people who had the ability to turn themselves into foxes, just to name a few. Before we get into how the Navajo becomes a skinwalker, let's first talk about some of the weapons they have at their disposal. First, they can make any form of animal noise, often using distress sounds in order to lure you in. But this is not limited to animals. They can also mimic your loved ones, or a child in distress, or anything that may cause you to look around and go out searching or trying to help someone or something that might be requiring your help. Much like a snake, if a skinwalker makes eye contact with you, he latches on and can control your mind and cause you excruciating pain. If or when he decides to release you, you will often vomit blood. They can also use human bone dust mixed with special herbs that are blown into this victim's face. This will in turn cause paralysis and heart failure. They will also use human bone darts, which will be inserted underneath the surface of your skin, oftentimes being painless, but becoming extremely infected, causing you much pain and oftentimes death. There are reports of them being able to cause your weapon to jam or freeze when you're trying to shoot at one, giving them enough time to escape. These are just a handful of weapons they have at their disposal. But how do you get rid of one? Once they've targeted you, it will be very difficult to get rid of them, but not impossible. One way would be to visit a reputable medicine man who has the knowledge and strength to spiritually battle one, although this would be very hard to find. You can dip your bullets in a special powder of white ash. This could injure it and potentially kill him off. If you manage to shoot one, the injury will follow it once it returns into human form, and will have the shotgun wound in the same place it had it when in animal form. If you suspect someone of being a skinwalker, you must say their human name out loud to their face, followed by, "I know you're a skinwalker." This is said to make them wither away and die. Contrary to some beliefs, using a silver bullet will not work in any special kind of way. You can also spot a skinwalker by several means. When in animal form, they will retain their human-like mannerisms and features. The eyes of the animal will remain that of a human's, and if you happen to come across one while driving or shine your light directly at their eyes, they are said to glow a bright red. Their walk is also not normal and will resemble very much that of a person's. Or if in all fours, it will have a strange gait to it, almost as if it's hurt. Since some don't have the ability to fully transform into one, they may appear as hollowed out animals resembling a dried out carcass. So with this in mind, how does a person become a skinwalker? First off, I have to place a disclaimer here. I am no expert in this subject, and much of what I know about this has come from several direct sources I know and from many years of research. Do not attempt to actually perform any of these rituals, as none have been proven to work in real life, and I will not be held accountable for it. I will also leave some key points out just on purpose. In order to become a skinwalker, a person must first have a certain percentage of Navajo blood running through their veins. Other native tribes are also said to possess this power, so if you don't have this, you're already out of the question. The initiation will require the performance of several evil acts, such as the sacrifice of an immediate family member, like a brother, mother, father, or grandparent. After a special sacrificial ceremony is performed, the next step is an act of necrophilia and cannibalism on the body. These rituals are mostly done underground in places such as abandoned caves and mines, as it is believed that these are where the evil resides. This is apparent in many Native American cultures who strongly believe that underground dwellings will summon up evil spirits. Some will never dare to venture into a cave if it led underground. Therefore, this is where most of the rituals are performed. While all of this is being done, other witch doctors will execute a ceremony and will recite specific incantations in order for this to work. The ritual will take several days to weeks, and the person that is being initiated will experience extreme pain while the ceremony is being done. Once completing this extremely consuming level of witchcraft, they will not meet again until they are summoned up to another convocation. From there on out, the person who chose to live this lifestyle will have to carry the animal pelt he or she wishes to transform into. More advanced practitioners of this don't need to carry any more pelts, as they are able to turn into any animal they wish to on command. As I mentioned before, becoming a skinwalker is no joke, and is a ritual that will consume the person into greed, envy, and evil acts. There is no such thing as a good skinwalker. Many people have paid a heavy price for becoming one, so you must always be careful of what you wish for and try to never talk about them, as doing this will in fact summon them up and cause you harm. Before I go, I want to dedicate this video to my late friend JC Johnson. Because of him, I continue to research many forms of shape-shifting creatures and cryptids. May you continue to rest in peace, brother. Until next time, I am Cryptid Hunter. Stay strange.